Okay, I still got it. Next one. The movie is exciting. So, how do you actually master ser and estar in Spanish? It's super confusing for us Spanish learners because in English there's only one way of saying to be. And to be, by the way, is like I am, you are, he is. You can see it's a very common thing that we talk about. But in Spanish, there's two ways to say to be. Now, in this video, we're going to actually go over some examples and I'll show you how I actually mastered that so that now I don't have to ask myself if something is ser or estar. So I'll show you how to do that. And there's typically two ways that people go about it. And the first way is people will look at a list like this, which gives you an acronym of like, okay, doctor is when you use ser. So if it's the date, the occupation, whatever else. And place is when you use estar. So like a position, a location, an action. And this is really helpful. And looking at examples of these is necessary. But a lot of people they're done there. Okay, I know when to use ser, I know when to use estar, but they never actually practice it. And so when it comes time for them to actually use it, they don't know which one to use. And so what you want to do is actually practice it. So an exercise that I like to do, and I did this more before than I do now, but I would practice actually having to use ser or estar. So for example, in this case, she is from Mexico City. Would this be ella es de la Ciudad de México or está? And it's good if you're a complete beginner to have a sheet like this open and practice with it open. So like, okay, we're talking about where she's from. So that's origin. So we go back, we say, okay, it's the verb ser. And how do you conjugate it for ella? It's ella es. So if you don't know how to conjugate ser and estar, it's helpful to have the conjugations open if you're a complete beginner, but you want to actually commit these to memory. So you can see, ignore all of this over here, just focus on the present because that's all we're practicing right now. So it's ella, that's she, es. That's how we would conjugate it. So if we go back to the exercise, that's the answer. So just keep doing these and we're going to do some together. So try and get the next one on your own. So they are happy. Would that use ser or estar? So if you don't know, you could go to the sheet and look at it. And okay, we're talking about happiness, which is an emotion. So it should be estar. And we're talking about ellos, they. They are happy. So we can go to the estar conjugations. We're looking at the present here. And it's ellos is down here, están. So ellos están felices. And a good thing about an exercise like this is you learn new words. So maybe you didn't know that feliz means happy. Or maybe you did because of the song Feliz Navidad. But maybe you didn't. So now you learned a new word as well. And with each exercise, for example, here, tired, you learn new vocabulary. So now you know that it means cansado. So we are tired. Is it ser or estar? And again, that goes back to kind of like an emotion, or you could consider it a condition, being tired. I would consider it actually more of a condition. But either way, it's estar. So nosotros estamos cansados. Oh, we just keep getting the same stuff. But okay, he is tired. So it's estar again, and it's él está cansado. Okay, next one. All right, this one's a little bit spicier. Juan is prideful, but I'm proud of him. So this one it's a double whammy. It has two. So let's focus on the first one. Juan is prideful. So that, again, is more of an emotion. Actually, sorry. Now that I think about it, it's also a characteristic. It's actually more of a characteristic, not an emotion. We're not saying Juan feels pride. We're saying Juan is prideful. So that would actually be ser, because that's his characteristic. Like, it's not just that right now, today, he's feeling pride. It's that as a person in general, his identity is that he is prideful. So I like to think of, if it's to do with identity, it's ser, which isn't in this list, but a characteristic is like a part of your identity. So this one would be ser, and it's Juan. So how do we conjugate ser for Juan? We go back to the conjugations. Juan is he. He is. Él es. Juan is. Juan es. So Juan es orgulloso, pero, and now we're talking about I am proud of him. Now you're not talking about that you're prideful all the time. You're talking about how in this moment you're saying you're proud of him, and that's an emotion. It's not a characteristic. So this is actually a really good example because you get two, you get to see the difference between the two. It's very similar, and oftentimes you'll see cases like this, like even with the feliz example where we're talking about happiness. If I say I'm happy, like right now, that would be estoy feliz. But if I say I'm happy in general, I'm a happy person, it's soy feliz. So just to give you an idea of the nuance between the two. So Spanish differentiates between the two, whereas in English we don't really care. So it should be es and then estoy. Es and estoy. Okay, I still got it. Next one. The movie is exciting. By the way, exciting you might think is excitante, but that can kind of refer more to bedrooms type of excitement. So you want to use the word emocionante. So la película, what is it? Would it be ser or estar? So it would either be, we're talking about la película, which is the movie. So which subject would it be in the first place? Let's actually cover that first. Would it be I? No, we're not talking about me. We're talking about the movie. So it wouldn't be you. It wouldn't be him or her. It would be it, which takes that conjugation of he, her, it. El, ella. That's called like the third person singular. So is it ser or estar now? So we know it's either going to be está, right? He, she, it, está. Or it's going to be he, she, it, es. So going back, la película, which one is it? It's kind of in the word there. Actually, no, that might trick you. This, it's not an emotion that we're talking about. So it's not estar. We're talking about a characteristic of the movie. So it's ser. So la película es emocionante. So I actually almost got confused there. So you can see how we as English speakers can get thrown off, but just doing practice like this will really like make it stick. So we'll do a couple more examples. We already did this one. So again, if it was they are always happy, they're just happy people, then it would be son. Ellos son felices, because that's the conjugation for they are, for ser. But if it's just in general, or if it's just like right now, like they're happy right now, then it's están felices. And typically that's what you're referring to. Like, estoy feliz, I'm happy. Like, it's in the moment. You're typically not saying I'm a happy person, right? So you typically use estar with feliz. But I just want to let you know that you can use ser. But yes, ellos están felices. The chairs are not in the kitchen. So this, would it be ser or estar? We're talking about position or location. I would just consider it location. The location of the chairs is what we're talking about. So it's estar. So, and again, the subject, it's not very obvious. We're talking about the chairs. So going through the list of subjects for estar, it's not yo, because we're not talking about me. It's ellos, because we're talking about them. And them doesn't have to refer to people. It can refer to inanimate objects like a chair, just like in English it could. Like, those chairs, they are dirty. Like, the they isn't referring to people. So, same thing in Spanish. Las sillas no están en la cocina. I don't know if we're dragging this too long. I think we'll just do one more example. But doing an exercise like this is really helpful. So, yeah, this is the best way to, just practicing and actually doing the thinking, putting the thought effort into it is what most people aren't doing. Most people are just kind of looking at YouTube videos or maybe playing like a little bit of a game or like an app that's kind of like a game, but they're not really doing focus studying. So anyways, I digress. I am a musician. So we're referring to someone's identity. So if you remember, I said ser is your, like, a lot of people like to think of ser and estar as like permanent for ser and temporary for estar. You can think of it that way. I'm not going to get into that though, but I just like to think like identity is always going to be ser. So here they have occupation. and you can think of it that way as well. So I'm a musician. Even though it's not necessarily permanent, you might just be a musician right now, but have plans to be one, to not be one later. Um, it would still be soy. So yo soy músico. I don't know. I'm loving this exercise, so let's just do one more. She is very pretty tonight. Ooh, this is another good one. Is it ser or estar? So her being pretty is a characteristic. So it's ser. She is pretty. Ella es linda. But we're saying tonight she's very pretty. So we're specifically talking about her condition tonight. And conditions use estar. So we would actually say ella está muy guapa esta noche. So if you're referring to a specific, like right now or like a moment, you would use estar because it was like a condition that she had for a moment. If you just want to say she's very pretty in general, ella es muy guapa. I said linda, which means cute, but either way, it's a compliment to her appearance. So let's see, it should be está. And there it is. So hopefully you scored perfect with me. If not, it is what it is. I have a community in the link in the description of this video if you want to work on your Spanish. We kind of do stuff like this on our calls. So if there's ever a topic that you feel like you need help with, you can check the calendar in the community and there might be a call on it. If not, you can just send me a message and suggest it, and we'll work on stuff together and get you conversational in Spanish. Anyways, that is all for this video. I hope this was helpful. Hopefully you can find a way to implement this in other areas of your Spanish. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Take care.